This is a review of the order trading system activity for February the 18th, 2022. We had 9 trades on that day, 4 were buys and 5 were short sells. First trade was DBN. Unfortunately, we have to wait some time for that to come up. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's Devon Energy Corporation, tripped at 11:55:08 a.m. at a price of 54.12. It was a short sell. It closed today at 54.78, down 0.85%, and after hours went up 0.77%. So it actually recovered from its previous close. So 11:55. So roughly around this area, it came down, stayed down, 53.83. Alright, so it looks like just after 12:22 it jumped up above its tripping price. So 11:55 to 12:22, that's half an hour where it was down below its tripping price, so that's a positive. Okay, then we will check the indicators. Excuse me. Okay, volume looks it was down, and yesterday it went down, so volume was pretty much down. MACD came down, up, but you can see pretty much the whole afternoon it just dwindled down, so it was moving down. DI down when it tripped. The afternoon it was pretty much positive all afternoon, and you can see late afternoon closing it was somewhat negative. The Bollinger Band came down, came up, and then went sideways. So it recovered a bit in the mid-afternoon period to start moving sideways, and then end of the day. The Bollinger Band was actually showing moving positive at closing, while the other indicators are showing moving it down. So that stock technically bouncing back and forth, I guess. Next trade is CPB. That's Campbell Soup Company. Tripped at 12:01:49 p.m. at a price of 44.18. It was a short sell. It closed today at 44.95, up 1.72%, down 0.11% after hours. Okay, 12:01. So yeah, we caught it down here where it dropped down here. Never really went down. So we hit a floor, and then afternoon period it actually recovered. So as we can see, down, and you can see that late afternoon recovery. MACD was down. You see afternoon it actually recovered. MACD was up pretty much all afternoon. DI shows you, yeah, again, morning time it was negative a good period of the time, and then the afternoon period it jumped up, stayed up for most of the afternoon. Bollinger Band actually came down, and the stock ended up moving positive after its initial morning drop. Next trade is CTRA. That's Coterra Energy Incorporated. Tripped at 12:10:36 p.m. at a price of 22.26. It was a short sell. It closed the day at 22.59, down 0.88% and 0.44% positive after hours. So 12:10. Yeah. It's the same as the previous one. It hit a floor and then moved down below it. Then you can see late afternoon it recovered. Volume not too much. You see dumping down, dropped during period, but you see the afternoon it recovered. So volume went up after hours. MACD was down and recovered in the afternoon. DI again down a couple of times and then pretty much positive for most of the afternoon. And Bollinger Band showing came down, and you can see the afternoon recovered. So the stock ended to stay moving positive. Next trade is ROKU. That's Roku Incorporated, tripped at 2:05:01 p.m. at a price of 108.21. It was a buy. It closed the day at 112.46, down 22.29%, 0.89% recovery. So it dropped almost a quarter of its value from previous close. And we can see that at least we caught it when it was down at its bottom point and was able to catch it moving upwards again. So the stock looks like it was moving positive too, and so, volume, moving up. MACD moved up, stayed up. DI came up, pretty much stayed up, and Bollinger Band came up. So you can see it tripped when it was starting to recover in the afternoon. So the stock, even though it was down from previous close, ended to stay moving positive. Next trade is NFLX, and that is Netflix Incorporated, tripped at 2:05:01 p.m. at a price of $396.07. It was a buy. It closed the day at $391.29, up 1.19%, down 0.52% after hours. So looks like we caught it just when it was at 205. Okay, so we caught it roughly around here. We caught it on this peak here, but it jumped up after that. 398, 398, 398, 396.14. It jumped up again, 397, 395. So roughly around here, around 310, it dropped down below its tripping price again. So from roughly around 205 to 310, we're talking hour there where it was above its tripping price on a regular basis. So we'll say that's another positive. And we will check the indicators for that stock. Volume, okay, moving up a little bit, but you can see the end of the day it dropped down. MACD came up, and you can see that drop here. So averages came down in the afternoon. DI, same thing. It was up here. This is where it tripped, obviously, and then afternoon, late afternoon, closed, and it dropped. And same thing, Bollinger Band came up and then dropped. So it was moving positive, but it ended its day moving negative. Next trade is KQOM. Excuse me, QCOM, not KQ. CQOM. That's Qualcomm Incorporated, tripped at 2:05:06 p.m. at a price of 167. It was a buy. It closed the day at 167.64, up 0.50%, down 0.98%. So it actually lost its positive movement on the day. But anyways, it ended the day moving positive, or ended its day above its tripping price. So that's a positive. Okay, volume, you showed it came up and somewhat stayed up. MACD came up and dwindled off a little bit there, and DI was up and moving a little bit negative there, and Bollinger Band moved up and down a little bit. So the good thing is it ended its day moving a little bit negative, but it didn't drop below its tripping price. It was moving positive before the end of the day. Next trade is KPTI. That's Karyopharm Therapeutics Incorporated, tripped at 2:40:08 p.m. at a price of $14.12. It was a buy. It closed the day at $14.38, up 19.83% and up 2.1% after hours. So we got a stock here moving differently from the other one. So that's 4. We'll have a look at the indicators for this. Yeah, volume looks good. You can see 240. So the afternoon period here, up. MACD up, up, up. So MACD is consistently, spiking upwards. DI, same thing, up, up, up. Bouncing back and forwards, what usually means somewhat sideways movements. And you see Bollinger Band looks almost sideways, but we happen to catch it during one of these jump up periods, and it ended its day moving positive. So it technically was positive, not strongly though positive. Next trade is ARCC. That's Ares Capital Corporation, tripped at 3:30:20 p.m. at a price of $21.56. It was a short sell, closed the day at $21.55 and $21.52. So technically that is a pause because it did close below its tripping price. So We say it's a positive just because of that. Take a look at the indicators. Okay, volume here at the end of the day is where it dropped. Where should I catch it? Same thing in the day, period, 3:30. So this period here where it dropped MACD, so it was moving down, MACD, DI was down, Bollinger Band. So we happened to catch it in the day when it was dropping, but before that it was actually moving a little bit positive. So we just happened to catch it moving a bit negative at the end of the day. Next trade is AAPL. I'm going to assume that's Apple. It is Apple Incorporated. Tripped at 355. Excuse me, 335. I thought that said 355. 3:35 p.m. at a price of 166.92. It was a short sell. It closed the day at 167.30, down 0.94%, down 0.48% after hours. So it did drop. It did drop below the after hours. It did drop down below its tripping price. So let's just see, 335. So roughly here. So we happened to catch it hitting a floor, and then it recovered a little bit. So we're gonna have to see what the actual volume shows it going down, MACD shows it down, DI is down, Bollinger Band down. Okay. The indicators are showing this stock, at least at the end of the day period, when it tripped, was moving down, but in general, it was moving down for a good period of the day. We can see the indicators showing that the morning was down. We had this little bit of recovery in the middle of the afternoon, and then it just late afternoon period, end of the day, it started moving negative. So it looked like it was moving negative for most of the day. So we're going to say that's a possible. And that gives us 5 out of 9 stocks positive, which is 56%, and 6 out of 9 stocks with possible 67%. So 56, 67%. So not great, but not terrible. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.